guys, it is Toni from Just Beachy Studio, and today we're going to talk about the basics of foundation paper piecing. And again, there's lots of ways to do everything. I tell you, try all things until you find the one that works for you. This is just the way I do it, and I've been doing it for a while. So I am actually starting a sew along at our local shop, Cut Up and Sew in Palm Coast, Florida. And we are doing a sew along with Dear Jane. So we're going to start this month on our sew along with paper piecing some of our blocks. And so this video is mainly for that audience, but if you can learn something out of this, I'm glad to be here to give you information. So first of all, let's talk about our supplies. First things we need to do is get our supplies kind of gathered and what are the best tools that you will need to do some foundation paper piecing, or lovingly called FPP. Now, I may be using that a little bit more because that will make things go a lot faster. So anyway, let's start with the basics. So these are called add-a-quarter rulers. I have, as I was going to get prepared for this, I realized I have a lot of add-a-quarter rulers. It's kind of funny. So there's two different styles, not to mention the length. You have a 6-inch and a 12-inch, but this one is a little wider than the original. These are the original set, which still work very well if you don't want to invest in something like this. I do encourage this. This is an investment, but it's something you'll do more of and use a lot in the process of paper piecing, foundation paper piecing. So let's look at these two because they're the same length. So when you first look at them this way, hopefully the camera shows you, there's a little lip right there, and that's a 1/4 inch. And we're going to be using that for our processes. Now the other difference is on this side. This has a little wedge-like edge, where this one is more square. So I'm going to show you what the difference is in using those, and this is why I do prefer this style better. I don't even know if they make them in this shape, but either way, if you have those, these are tools you're going to need for our processes. And then the next things you're going to need is a glue pen or a glue stick or a Elmer's glue stick, whatever. Something that's temporary. We just want to use this for our starting point. You're going to use a roller, or if you have one of those old-fashioned wooden iron sticks that kind of roll against the seams, you can use that as well. We will try not to use heat until we're ready to press the final project, mainly because paper does shrink, and we want to keep accuracy as part of the process with foundation paper piecing. So make sure you have a roller handy. It is a little easier to have a smaller 28 millimeter rotary cutter for cutting your small edges and small pieces. As I'm going to show you some samples here in a minute why that's important. And then I recommend a thin thread. So I do like Orfil for this process. And this is a 50 weight. You can go thinner. I've seen lots of people recommend an 80 weight, which is a Deco Bob by Wonderfil. And that works as well too. I am a cotton kind of gal, so I'm going to keep everything with cotton. So I'll use a 50 or 60 weight, which you can find. And I believe actually Orfil makes an 80 weight cotton now as well. So I might have to do some more testing and see how that works. So, okay, we've got our basic tools. Now you're going to need all their normal tools, your sewing machine, a Microtech sharp needle. I would recommend a smaller one, 75 to an 80, because we're using a thinner thread and we want to take up less seam allowance. So the smaller the needle, the thinner the thread, the more accurate your process will be. It also will help you perforate the paper easier. So make sure you have a sharp and clean needle, brand new needle, because needles will dull through paper piecing processes because paper and sharp edges, it dulls it fast. So once you've got all those things, a regular foot should be fine. You don't need a 1/4 inch foot. I actually make sure you don't have a guide on your foot as we do our processes. So you're probably wondering what this really cool mirror image of these two sizes of triangles are. I'm going to explain that here in a second. So if you are part of the sew along, I have already given you your PDF to print out. The most important thing, I'm going to insert a little video here on how to print this out, because that's just as important as the printing itself. So let me take a break here. understand. Make sure you keep you print that it is in actual size. Otherwise, this is what happens. This is actual size. This is fitting the page. Doesn't look good. This is not the right size. It will not work in the quilt I'm doing. So I have this one as well. So a couple of things I've also learned. I'm going to try. I'll be honest to say I've never done this before. So this is regular printer paper. Carol Doak's foundation paper. I love this. I've been using it for many, many years, but I'm going to try a couple blocks with this sew along with vellum paper. I will put a link in the bottom below to the Amazon link where I got this. I got it on Amazon. I think I got 100 pages for like $8 or $9. So nothing expensive, but I'm going to try it out. I've been told it helps make the perforation easier to remove so you don't leave lots of tiny pieces behind. But you're going to see me use both of these papers when I go through the next part of step by step on how to actually paper piece. So this is how we're going to prepare for our sew along for our foundation paper piecing, Dear Jane sew along. But I'm also going to talk about how to actually piece some of these things, because when you look at this and realize, wow, that's a lot of work, and that's really tiny. That is a quarter, size of a quarter right there. It looks really wonky because I was messing around, but this is what you can create with doing paper piecing, especially with our Dear Jane blocks as we go forward. So have any questions, leave them in the comment, or you can always email me at hello@justbeachystudio.com, and watch for the next video, and I'll give you more on how to actually go through the process of foundation paper piecing.